Alright guys, Blake, Phil, and Jackson here today with Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on beautiful Lake Taneycomo. It is Monday, January the 17th, I think. And we're going to do the one cast today. Oh, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We are currently setting in no generation right below the golf course, starting where the houses go down. And Phil is going to throw what looks like a scud under an indicator.
No.
No? Is that a midge?
It's that snow cone midge that Ryan had on yesterday.
Okay. The snow cone midge, which is basically a zebra midge with a white head.
Actually, I'm changing.
Oh, never mind. We don't know what Phil's throwing yet. I'll talk about what I'm throwing. So I've got my 5-weight rod today. This is the TFO Pro 2 5-weight 9-foot 4-piece rod that we sell in the shop, along with one of the rudder 5-weight fly reels there. I don't have the rudder line on this one. I think I have something Dwayne gave me. I'm not even sure which one it is. But today I'm going to do something I haven't tried out here yet. And I've got this 5-weight floating line, but here on the end I have a 5-foot section that you can attach. It has its own welded loop on it. You just feed the 2 welded loops together. But it is a 5-foot section of slow sinking line, and that's going to pull my flies down underneath the water. And that little sinking line has a little line attachment on the end of it, and I have 5X tippet running all the way down here to a size 14 green crackleback with a red hackle, and about 12 inches below that I have a size 14 kind of rusty red soft hackle. And I'm going to cast those out and strip them back and use that sinking line to get them down, and we're going to see if it works. It may not. I haven't tried this one yet. I've heard a few different reports from people of stripping cracklebacks in different ways when the water's off. That has worked for them. This isn't quite the same way I heard, but we're going to try it this way. What are you going with?
A zebra midge, I'm just not sure what.
Okay, Phil is throwing some type of zebra midge today.
Still working on leader and floats.
Oh. So the one thing about sink tip line is it is somewhat challenging to cast. So I'm going to try to do this today without tangling my flies in the sink tip. And I'm going to keep my rod tip down in the water. Anytime I'm stripping something, I always think it's best to keep that rod tip in the water. It leaves virtually no slack between you and the bite. And no fish on the first cast. Let's see, I don't know. Any fishing reports today, Phil? You heard anybody? We only had 1 or 2 boats on the water that I could see, and it's my last day off of vacation. And I haven't been on the lake all week, so I haven't heard any fishing reports. He's got a green, primrose, and pearl midge on. What size? 14. Fourteen's all the way around today. All the times I've stripped cracklebacks and soft tackles here on Taneycomo is usually when we got about a half unit of water running. I'll get over those shallower areas like this north bank down from the golf course, or the other side of the Narrows, or the front of Eagle Island, or up alongside of Lookout Island, and I'll swing them. I usually don't even use the sink tip, even though I probably could on those conditions too. And that's usually when I do best. I haven't really tried stripping one with the water off. Anytime I'm stripping something, I always play around with the cadence, do long continuous strips or short ones and leave pauses in between, and I just kind of play around with those different things until I find one that they bite on. This slow sink tip I've got on here is sinking so slowly that those flies are just kind of barely underneath the surface. Go over to the shallow side and try one over here. Wow. Bill's hooked up. So, I spent my vacation over the last 5 days. We were 4 days in Arkansas at Gaston's Resort on the White River with my friend Mark Konechnik and Captain Dwayne Doty. And it was a real fun time. We caught a lot of fish. We got there early Wednesday afternoon and we rented a boat, and we just kind of stayed within a mile or two of Gaston's, went above, floated back down below, and we fished the Signature Series jerkbaits, and we fished our Lilleys jigs, and we caught plenty of browns and plenty of rainbows, and landed one tiger trout on a brown and peach jig. Oh, there was one. Oh, I finally had one on the, well, one of them, crackleback or the soft tackle. Oh, that's
You have any more flies?
highly disappointing. Oh yeah, I got plenty of flies. I just have to redo my whole leader material here. You want to take control of the trolling motor?
You want to keep
Dang,
talking, or you want to just?
I finally had one. I'll keep talking. Or we can actually, yeah, I'll pause it and we'll come back.
We'll pause it and come
I
back.
won't waste any time making you watch me do all this. Huh. Oh, that's cool. Alright, we're back. I'm tied back up again. I don't know what happened. Might have had a bad spot in one of my tippet spools. I had 5X on there and it broke at my perfection loop, which is kind of weird. But I tied on back the exact same crackle back and the exact same soft tackle here, except I upgraded to 4X tippet. It might hurt me, it might not. I'm hoping that because I'm stripping these continuously, that the fish are more or less chasing it, and that my upgraded tippet size won't matter so much, but we'll see. So anyway, first day, yeah, we went out on the little rental boat by ourselves and we did real well. And we took out Craner's. Phil is hooked up again, it sounds like. We took out Craner's guide service for our next 2 days there. The first day with our guide, we drug the trout beads, size 8 and size 10. Orange trout beads. The winter brown trout down there are really on the hunt for those eggs, and it was very effective. We found lots of pods of brown trout that were eating those pretty well until the water dropped out later that day, and we switched over to basically a giant cloth egg pattern. He called it a golden nugget, but...
Where's your microphone? Great. Because I can hear that strip in your coat.
yeah, I got it up on my hat. I'm sure you'll be able to still hear some of it. Our second day on the water with our guide, we drug giant minnows. I believe they were like a red shiner or something. And it was effective for finding the brown trout and some of the bigger rainbows up there. And when the water fell out that afternoon, we had brought our jig rods with us and we had him drive us around and we threw jigs for a while. Those jigs are deadly effective on the White River.
What color do you use?
The colors that we primarily used, I used brown and peach with an orange head most of the time I was fishing, which every time I've been to the White, the brown and peach with an orange head for some reason does really well. Sculpin and ginger with an orange head, and white. White was an effective color the whole weekend. I guess this time of the year is kind of their white bite, as our guide Jerry said, but also we had some overcast days as well, and those helped out with the white bite as well. Well, now this spot doesn't have any chop and the Narrows does. I'm actually going to attempt to start putting some speed on the trolling motor here and create an artificial swing and see if that helps my
I thought you were going to say artificial chop.
oh yeah. No, not artificial chop. No, sometimes if you can get these flies swinging a little bit, it helps. Our last day there was whenever they were calling for all the snow, the rain turning into snow. Dwayne decided to get back home because he had a big hill to climb to get to his house, and me and Mark stayed and fished Saturday morning. Rented a boat and went out. And first thing in the morning, going down the bank at Gaston's, we did really well on the French Pearl 762 jerkbait. Right as it was hitting light, they let us get on the boat at about 6:45 in the morning. And right as it was getting light, the jerkbait bite for the brown trout was really good. And we cruised our way down to Whitehole once it was light enough, which is, roughly a mile and a half or so away from Gaston's. Hey, I'm doing the one cast, I'll call you back. And I started off with a chuck and duck rig, which Phil has used on the one cast a few times before. And I used those trout beads on my fly rod. And I caught a few fish first thing that morning, but controlling the boat and doing that was a little challenging. So we stuck to jigs and jerk baits. I had a big, probably 23 or 24 inch brown on that I fought for a while down below what they call Whitehole, on a white jig that morning on a 16th ounce, and lost him at the boat. And Mark landed one just a little bit below that on the bluff on a 20 inch brown. All in all, it was an awesome trip. We had lots of fun and caught lots of fish. Yesterday, went to Roaring Rivers for the first time with Mark and Leonard Kinney. And that was a very scenic place. I like the way they have all the little runs set up for fishing. And we managed to catch a couple nice ones out of there. I caught all mine on I caught a few on the dry fly first thing in the morning on a clinking hammer. All those fish were up near the surface eating on stuff, so I got a few to bite at dry fly. And then I switched over to the chartreuse mega worm for the rest of the day and kind of fished the deep holes. Oh, there was a bite. Masters tournament coming up this weekend. Everybody will start showing up for that in a couple days. Is it the Masters tournament that is flies and artificial lures only?
Well, both L. Frank and Masters.
Okay, both L. Frank and Masters. There's a fish right out there that just rose. See if I can get him to hit one of these. As far as I understand it, crackleback essentially imitates a cluster of midges. So if I've got fish rising for midges out here, I might be able to trick one into taking that crackleback. I'm really not sure that this is getting down where I want it to. I think I need a heavier, longer sink tip to strip these along the bottom. I can see my sink tip from here and it's getting it down, but not where I think I need to have it. So I'll have to get a spool of all sinking line and try it again. I will say that this little 5-foot section of sink tip line I do use for night fishing with streamers when they're running 1 unit or less. And it has proven to work out just perfectly. And Phil's hooked up again. Come off. We are getting down to where we are just above the narrows. I'm getting close to giving up on this and throwing my scud out there. Couple of nice fish sitting right in front of us. Okay. I'm going to my scud. I can only take the torture so long. Well, guys, this is something I'm going to play around with. I'm probably going to buy a full sinking line setup. Something I can strip those crackle backs and soft tackles and such directly on the bottom or pretty close to. And come back with an update once I get all this stuff to do it. And this little sink tip line might work good for when the water's moving a bit. Sometimes that helps push it down. I've got a white thread jig on and a gray scud size 14 on this rod. And I'm using the stick-on orange Pulsa indicators. Ooh, that looked like a hit. Also could have been shallow water. How deep are you set? Deeper water? Okay. I'm just going to go over to the channel. Well, I've got this one set from the last time I was fishing, and we were fishing the channel. Oh, there's a couple nice trout. They ran some heavy generation this morning, didn't they? Looked like they ran almost a full 4 units this morning. Oh, I do have one fishing report. A buddy of mine who recently took up night fishing has been fishing up by the dam almost every night and stick baits. And last night they did fairly well. Caught a variety of species. Caught a brown, spotted bass, some nice rainbows with the water being off. Doug Piper was the name of the guy who told me about stripping the big crackle-backs on sinking line. change directions down here. Starting to think these fish are mad at me for going to the White River to fish. Yep, they're mad at me. They're liking you today, though.
Little one, just like yesterday. Everything was right. Maybe look for me to do that.
I had my foot farther over on that trolling motor, but I guess I didn't. Hey. I'm gonna scoot us over in that channel, Phil. Found the very top of the gravel bar there, so I'm scooting us on over to the Narrows. We have a little residual current over here, as is the case most of the time. This is probably where I should be stripping those at. Ready to call it?
No, I just.
Looks like it's recording on this side of the camera. Well, I liked this little scud the last time I was out here. Yeah, I've got that thread jig, but there he was right there. I've got the size 14 gray scud on below it. It's a little deeper up here today.
Yeah.
Generally where we're sitting right now, the trolling motor ought to be starting to scrape. Switching to the other rod. Well, no action for me today. But Phil and his midge did pretty good. Fair to middling. But we thank you guys for watching today. And we'll be back out to do it again tomorrow. Thanks, guys.